I told you that one of the most beloved action-adventure films of the 1990s was almost destroyed by sandstorms, illness, stunt accidents, and production chaos that felt straight out of an ancient curse? That's the story behind The Mummy, a film that wasn't only shot in the desert, it fought the desert itself. Entire crews were evacuated because of political unrest, equipment was buried under sandstorms that hit every single day, and one of the film's biggest stars nearly didn't survive a stunt that went horribly wrong. Get ready, because these are 15 crazy facts that reveal how The Mummy became one of the most chaotic and unforgettable adventure films ever made. Number 15. Brendan Fraser nearly died. Remember that scene where Rick O'Connell's about to be hanged at the gallows? It's intense, but what happened behind the scenes was even more frightening. Brendan Fraser, the star himself, nearly didn't walk away from the stunt. He's primarily known as a versatile actor in comedy and to a lesser extent some drama, but also had a reputation for playing fish-out-of-water characters. So, he was used to performing almost any kind of stunt. During the filming, he was performing the hanging scene where Rick faces execution, and to make it look real, directors would ask him to sell the choke even harder. No! And so, he took that note seriously and tightened the rope standing on his toes. With nowhere else to go, the rope had stopped the blood flow to his head. As he slipped a little lower, he fainted right in the middle of filming and the cameras kept rolling, but he was out cold with his face pressed into the dirt and rocks in his mouth. When he finally woke up, the stunt coordinator was standing over top of him, laughing and saying that he had just joined a group of actors who'd been choked out during filming. Number 14. The cast had military survival training. The main cast for this film went through intense physical training to bring their action-packed roles to life. The cast had put in a lot of effort to prepare for the challenging roles, and practicing with realistic weapons, racing through ancient tombs, and learning to ride horses, and even climbing for those thrilling chase scenes. All of it was part of their backstage training. They dedicated countless hours to improving their strength, speed, and endurance, all while gearing up to tackle intense filming conditions in scorching heat. These preparations made every punch, fight, and escape feel real, and you'd think that they'd truly lived through the adventure. Number 13. The crew was evacuated for political unrest. The production originally planned to film in Egypt, which was the obvious choice for a movie set there, but unstable political conditions on the ground had made it impossible for a large Hollywood crew to operate safely. Filming was then relocated to Marrakesh, Morocco instead. Marrakesh actually worked in the production's favor. It was far less modern than Cairo, making it easier to dress the streets to look like the 1920s. The crew had spent weeks before filming removing telephone wires, shipping in period cars and camels, and bringing in locals as extras for the crowd scenes. The safety precautions taken by the crew tell you everything about how seriously that they looked at the risk. The cast members had kidnapping insurance taken out on them, and production had the official support of the Moroccan army on standby all throughout the filming. Number 12. Real sandstorms destroyed equipment. Imagine how crazy it must have been to film right in the middle of the Sahara Desert near Morocco. It was super hot, but the whole process was a mess because of constant sandstorms. And these storms used to hit every single day, causing chaos for everyone and everything on set. The powerful desert winds would whip up such thick clouds of sand that visibility was almost zero. The cast and crew had to battle constantly against the elements as dust and grit got into cameras, gear, their eyes, and their mouths. Arnold Vosloo, who played the fearsome mummy Imhotep, shared a memory of how fierce these storms really were. One storm hit with such force that it completely stripped the paint off of his trailer. Number 11. The scarab beetles were inspired by real medical footage. The scarab beetles you see in the movie were not random creepy crawlies. They were inspired by real insects, but with horrifying twist. The filmmakers had studied real beetles to create the scarabs that you see in the film, taking details from real bugs like pincers and movements, and combined them to make something truly terrifying. Real scarabs, like the sacred ones from ancient Egypt, are harmless dung beetles, but the man-eating ones in the film were completely made up. They made the scarabs move in a super creepy way by exaggerating how the real bugs act. They took what insects really do, like crawling and scuttling, and made it way more extreme. It was like mixing real bug behavior with stuff out of a scary movie. Number 10. Brendan Fraser did most of his own stunts. Fraser has spoken candidly about why he pushed himself to perform his own stunts all throughout the Mummy films. In an interview with The Telegraph, he explained that he felt a personal responsibility to justify the large paycheck he was earning, and that doing the physical work himself was how he did that. The price that he paid was enormous. Injuries accumulated over the course of the films required years of medical treatment, including spinal surgery, a partial knee replacement, and surgery on his vocal cords. He said that these physical consequences were part of why he stepped back from the spotlight for a period of time, and that getting back into shape after them was a long and difficult process. Number 9. Early CGI was groundbreaking for its time. The visual effects work done by Industrial Light and Magic on The Mummy was considered groundbreaking for 1999. Rather than putting Arnold Vosloo in a single costume for the entire movie, the production treated Imhotep as a fully digital creature that evolved on screen. ILM had built the character digitally from the skeleton upward, adding in layers of muscle, sinew, and tissue so that every stage of his regeneration looked distinct and convincing. Several sequences had pushed the technology of the era to its limits. The giant sandstorm with his screaming face was made using special effects that simulated particles. The swarms of beetles were created with methods like those that were used in Star Wars Episode I, and for the final battle, the undead army mixed in motion capture and real actors in a way that still looks impressive today. The key reason the effects still work is that the film never relied solely on CGI. It combined digital with detailed miniatures, practical makeup on Vosloo, and real set construction. That hybrid approach is exactly why the film's visuals have aged far better than the sequels. The film had grossed over $416 million worldwide, and the effects were a significant part of its success. Number 8. Imhotep's face morph took months to render. The visual effects team had spent months working hard to create the digital version of Imhotep. They combined real footage and cutting-edge CGI to make him come to life. What's crazy is that this wasn't just regular makeup or a simple computer trick. Instead, they made a detailed computer model that mixed Arnold's acting in with decayed skin, muscles, and even bones to show how his body slowly regenerated. You may be shocked to know that they'd spent 3 months planning and designing his look, all before even starting filming. And once they began rendering, every detail from his motion to his lighting was adjusted over and over again for perfection. It's no wonder his transformation stood out as some of the most intense and time-consuming effects in the movie. Number 7. Practical sets were built in UK hangars. While the desert exteriors were filmed in Morocco, a massive portion of the film was built and shot in Shepperton Studios in England. Established in 1931, the studio is world-renowned and historic, recognized as one of the oldest and largest in the UK. It's currently operating as a major hub for blockbusters and high-end TV, including productions for Netflix. After production designer Alan Cameron had identified the horseshoe-shaped geological formation as the site for the exteriors, the team conducted a full survey of the area. That survey was used to create precise scale models of every column, statue, and architectural feature. Those models were then reconstructed at Shepperton Studios, where all of the underground scenes in the City of the Dead were filmed. The sets had taken 16 weeks to build, using fiberglass columns rigged with special effects systems, and were assembled from prefabricated parts that had been shipped from England to Morocco and back. Number 6. John Hanna improvised panic lines. When John Hanna, who played the fan favorite Jonathan Carnahan, stepped onto the set, nobody knew just how much chaotic charm he was about to bring. Before that, he was primarily known for his breakout role as Matthew in the romantic comedy 4 Weddings and a Funeral, where he delivered a memorable performance of W.H. Auden's poem, Funeral Blues. Though the script for The Mummy was solid, his sarcastic quips, dramatic eye rolls, and unpredictable energy became the game changer. Director Stephen Sommers even encouraged him to mess around in the background to inject humor into tense scenes. But there is a twist. One of the movie's funniest moments almost didn't happen. Remember the scene where Hanna's character had to pretend to be one of Imhotep's chanting zombies? Hanna actually hated it. He thought it was lame and embarrassing and even tried to convince the director to cut it out. Yet this embarrassing moment became one of the most iconic and hilarious scenes in the film, and we're all glad that he didn't get his way. Number 5. Guns were real, but jammed. Because the desert was so harsh, it turned into an unexpected enemy for the production crew. Sandstorms were constant, and the tiny grains of sand got into everything, even the guns that were used for filming. They wouldn't work right because the sand had made them jam up, and this left the actors stuck with rifles that weren't any good. Imagine the mess when you're trying to film exciting battle scenes with weapons that won't fire. But how do you see those thrilling gunfire moments in the movie with the audio? They're almost entirely fake. To save the scenes, the crew had to rely on CGI to create the muzzle flashes, and the sharp, echoing gun sounds you hear were all added later. Without the magic of post-production, those intense shootouts may have well been nothing more than actors awkwardly pretending to pull the trigger on jammed props. Number 4. The cast got dysentery. John Hanna was asked what the most powerful thing he experienced was while filming such a historically rich part of the world, and his answer was not what anyone expected. Diarrhea, definitely diarrhea. Every one of us, honestly, it was extraordinary, inexplicable, unbelievable amounts. I never thought I had so much in me. The whole cast ended up getting sick with dysentery during filming. They had to deal with the serious illness while working in the blazing heat, far away from any proper medical attention. On top of that, they had to handle sandstorms and attacks from wild animals, showing that making the movie was not easy at all. Every impressive scene in the film came from a lot of hard work and very tough conditions. Number 3. The production didn't have to sell its visual effects vision. Even before The Mummy started full production, director Stephen Sommers had a special advantage. He had already worked with Industrial Light and Magic thanks to his earlier film Deep Rising, and Sommers and ILM had built a strong working relationship. Because of this trust, ILM had began creating visual effects ideas and tests for The Mummy long before the script was even finished. It was a pretty big deal. Back then, movies didn't usually start working on CGI so early, but for The Mummy, ILM wasn't just a team that came in later to add the effects. They were helping to plan how the entire movie would look from start to finish. This made the movie one of the most exciting and visually amazing action adventures of the 1990s. Number 2. Test screening shaped the final tone. Stephen Sommers had designed The Mummy as a romantic adventure in the spirit of Indiana Jones, deliberately avoiding a purely dark or horror-driven tone. But it was early test screenings that confirmed the blending of action, humor, and heart was landing with audiences and gave the production team a confidence to fully commit. The chemistry between the main actors was the foundation of that tone, and when audiences responded, the filmmakers leaned into it completely. Brendan Fraser has said that while they were filming, the cast didn't really know what kind of movie they were making. They weren't sure if it was supposed to be a drama, an action movie, or even scary, or a romance. It wasn't until test audiences in Britain watched it that everyone realized they'd created something truly special. Number 1. Daniel Day-Lewis was considered for the role of the Mummy. It might be crazy to think, but Daniel Day-Lewis, one of the most intense and serious actors of our time, was considered to play the role of the Mummy. Director Joe Dante had a big plan for the movie, a darker and more dramatic story with lots of romance and mystery. He wanted to set it in modern times and focus on the idea of reincarnation. With a larger budget, he even hoped to cast Daniel Day-Lewis as the lead, imagining his acting style would bring something special. But the studio decided to throw that idea out. They chose to make the film in a totally new direction, going with Stephen Sommers as the director. Instead of being dark and creepy, the movie turned into the fun, action-filled adventure that we enjoy today. It makes you think, what would a Mummy movie with Daniel Day-Lewis have been like? There's no doubt it would have been a quite different experience, but perhaps just as memorable in its own way. Now be sure to smash that like button if you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss another great video like this one. Got any recommendations? Be sure to share them in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.